A lot of failures are not admitted. A new lover via military base, then she likens to half and half. The other says, each word having no past in it, Kristen Naka. We keep looking for things that may or may not exist. They never have time to circulate without having a fresh new perspective. You never know when you're going to need a healthy dose of introspection. What do you need when you're looking for something that isn't there? What they do in the street, night people laugh too, loud faces long. I can't explain. What they eat in the inner hallways, I am not of the night people, but here I sit. What they throw away, I keep. Eating their fermented rice, drinking their sour pockets being full. I see what else we collect. Inter-exchange. Cross each duct, each bone a system of intricates, a holding blood. In 2004, a combustion in a man and his oxygen, scarred field of texture overlaid with the creepy, high-pitched lullaby. Which self sung to here? Then the metal one uncovers undercurrent. The big one, electric, places ear at the skin and shine, listening in a pulse. They ask, what river does the metal desire? What stories escaped? A mouth, my name, flying words sourced from future, a scab, means to leave, means to scrape your tongue into liquid and paste. Underground with red-green LED lights has been proposed, and we can build fixtures inside of our homes to carry our herbs. A shiny fabric, we cut out origins, excised our always and never mothers, dead the ghosts, and then some more. We verb, don't you know? A history in 50 words. If there was a box, drill me in, becomes a peacock. We have no more to barter, and the child is someone. The child has an open pen bearing down. Each time an eye gleams, we eat our fill. I'm all choked up trying to speak to you. I know the words keep coming out of my mouth, but they are never the words I want to say. Are they interesting? Sure, but they're not what I want you to hear. Trash cans built up to jokes, move in the night, our homes. When that morning arose out her throat, blue in shine, pressed to purple. Does not listen. The child is a monster come from me. Yes, she always leaves with my tongue in a paste. I always say again how to plant the child's teeth for the future market, to have a trade, a way to gain the next day, a hole in my throat passed into tomorrow. Do you want the story? What's missing in the well, buried under the unclean water? Nobody has a throat to drink. In the future, when you visit, how can nonsense be liberatory? Myung-Mi Kim. We grow our bodies outwards to each sky building in the holes between. Wait for the mouth to hatch a monster. I made up none of it. There were days that did not end in blue, waiting for the white to break. Yet sometimes that spot is of the most dense substance, the one where I step my full monster into the body. She was jellyfish, she was boiling sea into fire, she was building my speech, reach for the throat which is past. One by one, my tongue became crab each day, sunset by the furnace before home. Hold on. Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears now, and I'm going to read a piece that's in another form that I really am drawn to, and it's a Zujitsu form. And what that is it's a Japanese hybrid form, which is a mix. Thank you. Which is a mix between essay and poems. And it's kind of also kind of following your impulse, but it's deliberate following impulse. So basically, since I've come to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee, it's been a really interesting experience. I realized I was a coastal person, and I also have been thinking a lot about my gender identity in relation to both the people I've met and also just what's going on in my own body. And at the same time, I was asked to write a lot of, I guess, bloggy things in relation to that. So I found that this forum really captured what I was trying to say, and so I want to read this piece for you. Okay, so it's called Queer Poetry, Izuyuhitsu. 1. You asked me to write about queer as genre, poetry as genre, and all I can think of in terms of intersections is failure and scatter. What kind, sort, style? Asked the Oxford English Dictionary. I am obsessed with the Izuyuhitsu poetic form, a hybrid Japanese form which utilizes subjective lists, journal entries, juxtaposition, fragmentation, etc., to create a sense of randomness which is not really random. Because it is messy, chaotic, contradictory. It is a form I frequently return to, especially when I do not always know what and how to say. It is a form which maps and contains my fear. 2. My poetry is often guided by an impulse to fail. When this is the case, writing is an attempt to salvage something from the mess. Douglas Kearney. 3. I moved to Milwaukee from California and met 5 queer Asian people. Not me, though I have been referred to myself multiple times. Is this a mistake? Are others mistaking me for me? Do I look like myself? This is totally subjective. I moved to Milwaukee for poetry, not for queerness. Yet the search becomes what I frustrate, what pushes me to lineate, what creates the next line, what is filled up here. 4. What are the essential qualities that make up this loneliness? 5. Queer sorts. 1 moved with me from California for school. 1 I met in a cafe with leafy greens overhead. We met there because he drank tea, not coffee. My uncle, a handyman in another life, dreamt of opening a tea shop. I think he had been persuaded to meet with me as a recruitment retainment strategy. One of us had been tricked to be there. My mother was visiting, and we talked about whether he would be comfortable if she came along. She said, "You go ahead." I don't want to make him uncomfortable. It was a matter-of-fact conversation, and I cannot remember another one about this topic with my mother. 1 told me the only queer, gay, lesbian, Asians she knew in the city were her 2 siblings. 1 told me he was glad to be moving away because he felt unsafe. 1 spent a night with me in a red bar, coastal people, fast talkers both. When I met her, not wanting to assume, I asked, "Do you identify as Asian? Are you blank?" None of them are like me exactly, yet I want. 6. In another blog entry, writing from the past, Banu Kapil. I become so familiar with this scene that at one point, I lie down on the ground instead. I exchange my body with the body of another girl. I wait for something to happen, and it does. 7. When I left California, an old friend from my MFA program told me that she had seen my doppelganger in the MFA program. By the time she had gone up to her to say something, my twin had replied, I know, I look like Ching-In. I have never met anyone who looked like me. Or is this a lie? 8. Last week, at Las Dos Brujas writing workshop with Kamiko Han, poet who originated writing Izuyuhitsu as poetry, as essay, neither, all of the above, in English. On Wednesday night, in the middle of the week, her reading was sparsely attended. I cried. It felt like a reflection on me. We are not interchangeable bodies, yet my body feels related to her. Familial. If she disappears, ridiculous. Will I not be seen? A fear. Not be related to? A fear. Not be recognized? A fear. Not be made sense of? A fear. 9. In this extreme city, my bodies become multiple. How do you like to be addressed? Them, I reply, and they nod. At Kuchansky's Concertina Beer Hall, where I have just performed with my band, the owner-bartender mistook me for a sir and apologized. That's okay, I reply. I identify as multiply gendered. A trans man at the next table is indignant on my behalf and asks me how I feel. How I feel? These words all originate from my bodies. 10. Because to fail to define your world, your nation, means disappearing from it. Latinos, they're banning your books in Arizona and no one is saying anything about it. They're failing your children in cities across the nation. Your elders are dying off and are being forgotten. They want you gone, forgotten. They don't want to hear your voice because your voice complicates the story. Who's they? You tell me. A complicated story is a true story. Rich Villar. 11. I buy Kamiko's reading copy of Toxic Flora after her books sell out. She looks through the book for errant writing. I tell her I don't mind, but she says if she has made notes, she needs them. She writes me a note, but I lend my book out to another writer and do not see until after she has exited the premises. Good to see you so often, and now here. 12. From indicates a particular time or place as a starting point. From refers to a specific location as the first of two limits. From imagines a cause, an agent, an instrument, a source or an origin. From marks separation, removal, or exclusion. From differentiates borders. Where are you from? Craig Santos Perez. 13. Is the answer not a poem?